I'd like to bring the June 14th, 2017 Planning and Zoning meeting to order. Would everyone please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Abbott?
Here.
Commissioner Selberg?
Here.
Commissioner Brule?
Here.
Commissioner Azarmi?
Here.
Commissioner Walker? Commissioner Beller?
Here.
Commissioner Kelly?
Here.
Commissioner Gordon?
Here.
Chairman Fouché?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Couple of announcements. Anyone who has not yet signed in, please do so at the table located in the lobby. Should anyone wish to speak, please complete the request to speak form, which is also located on the lobby table next to the sign-in sheet. A request to speak form must be completed for each item you like to speak on, including sub-items. Please note that there are stairs on the right, left, and center aisles, and we ask that you use caution when using these stairs. There's also a ramp located at the audience's left. Anyone who has written comments, exhibits, petitions, photos, or letters they intend to use at today's meeting, please have 17 copies and give them to the staff member in the back of the auditorium. She has her hand up. If you do not have 17 copies, you may use the overhead camera to present your documents. Please place your document on the podium and line it up on the arrows indicated. If you want your documentation to go on record, please hand them to the clerk after your presentation with the agenda item clearly marked on the document. Members of the public cannot speak to the staff members that are sitting in the table with microphones during the meeting. We ask that you take your questions to the staff member in the back of the auditorium. All speakers will be limited to 2 minutes to make their presentation. Everybody, please either turn off your cell phones or pagers or place them on vibrate during the meeting. If you must receive a phone call, please leave the meeting area and go outside to have your conversation. We also ask the audience to refrain from talking with one another during the presentations and discussion. Today, the Planning and Zoning Commission will hear public testimony and then forward a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors. The items with the recommendations made by the Commission will be heard by the Board of Supervisors on Monday, July 3rd, 2017, at 9:30 a.m. in the same location, with the exception of any continued items. Everyone attending the meeting is asked to remember that the administrative building and campus are tobacco-free areas, which means no smoking curb to curb. Also, only bottled water is allowed in the auditorium. No food, no soda, coffee, etc. is allowed. If there are any items remaining on the agenda, the Commission will break from lunch from 1 to 2. At the next board meeting of the Board of Supervisors, there's a time set for 11 a.m. for an open meeting law training by the Ombudsman Office. The Board of Supervisors will suspend their meeting at 11 o'clock to have this open meeting law training session. Approval of the minutes from the last meeting. Everybody had a chance to review them. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion to approve the minutes for the last meeting.
Second. I have a motion by Commissioner Selberg, a second by Commissioner Gordon. Any further discussion? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 1.
Item number 1A is an evaluation of a request to rescind and cause the property to revert from RO, Single-Family Residential Manufactured Homes Prohibited, and M, General Manufacturing zones to the previous zone of AR 10A, Agricultural Residential 10-acre minimum lot size zone for failure to meet the conditions of approval as specified in BOS Resolution 2006-019 and BOS Resolution 2006-156. which approved the rezone assessor parcel number 206-13042 in the Golden Valley area. This property was conditionally approved for a rezone from an AR 10A agricultural residential 10-acre minimum lot size zone to an RO single-family residential manufactured homes prohibited and M general manufacturing zones by Mojave County Board of Supervisors on January 9th, 2006 by BOS Resolution Number 2006-019 and on March 6, 2006 by BOS Resolution Number 2006-156 to allow for a 646-lot subdivision known as Walnut Creek Ranch Tract 3307 and a wastewater treatment plant. Vesting of the RO zone could not take effect until recordation of a final plat of the proposed subdivision, and vesting of the M zone required that the property be improved and conditions met within 1 year of its approval. As of today, a final plat has not been recorded and the property has not been improved or conditions met. A letter was sent by certified mail on April 19, 2017, notifying the property owner that the approval of the rezoning had expired and that the resolution would be scheduled for rescission. Staff recommends that BOS resolution numbers 2006-019 and 2006-156 be rescinded and the zoning revert to an AR 10A agricultural residential 10-acre minimum lot size zone. Staff would also like to note that this item, although it's 1A, is kind of separate from 1B and 1C, whereas we need to rescind the prior zoning because it has expired and is no longer valid. Needs to be rescinded back to the AR zone. And I know a lot of people here today are probably coming to speak on item 1, but it's more particularly for item 1B and 1C for the new plan amendment and rezone, and that your decision on this item 1A should not be considered with the other two items. Thank you.
Thank you. Is the applicant present? The applicant is present. We have multiple speakers
On the resend, right?
on the resend. Actually, on all of them, but we'll just hit item number 1. Bruce Bellinger? And after Bruce, Jonathan Carlton. Please state your name and address.
Bruce Bollinger, 3233 Black Rock Road in the Walnut Creek development area. I live across the highway from Route 66 from the proposed area. Mojave County has paid big money to develop the Griffith Energy Park. This is where the Scott Paper, Scott Industries and other large manufacturers should be put, not in a place that is currently set as residential. One of the reasons that we appreciate the area that we're in is because of the night sky. By bringing an industrial piece of property out there with their security lights and their production that states, I think, 2 shifts per day, we're going to end up destroying the area from the residential area that it is. I ask that you guys encourage Scott Industries to go to the industrial park that was developed and paid for by the county. Excuse me. Please do not change this from residential into manufacturing. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions of the speaker?
Sorry, I didn't know that. Gentlemen?
Okay, thank you. Jonathan Carlton?
I'm a land surveyor. I surveyed the property boundary and also staked the site location and building for the proposed building.
Please speak your
State your name and raise the
Jonathan
microphone.
Carlton.
Raise the microphone up a little bit. There you go. State your name and address.
Jonathan Carlton. I live at 805 West Atlantic. Excuse me. I'm a land surveyor, and I did the survey for this property as well as the site and the building layout. I just wanted to bring it to the commission's attention that the folks of Walnut Creek destroyed my monuments in the process of trying to go through this rezone, which is a criminal offense. Falls under a number of criminal offenses, and I just thought the commission would be interested to know that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Casey Darnell?
Good morning. Thank you for the chance to talk with you today. I'm Casey Darnell.
State your name and address.
I live at 3266 West Carmichael Road in Walnut Creek. First of all, I would like to say I live at Walnut Creek and I did not destroy any survey markers. And I'm opposed to criminal activity to their work. That's not what we're here for. I think I am more aiming my conversation to Agenda B or C, the rezoning from residential to the heavy industrial, which we were told was a minor change. I moved out there shortly, about 2 years ago, for the scenery. I purposely hunted for quite a while looking for somewhere on the end of the industrial area. And I enjoy the fact that I get to drive home and leave Kingman and the industrial lights and everything in my rearview mirror. And this is now going to be right out my back porch. So I urge you to not let the rezoning from residential to heavy industrial not go through. Thank you.
Mr.
Any
Chairman,
questions?
I have a question. When you say back porch, how far is your home from this location?
From the property in question, it's about 1,000 feet.
From your home
From my,
to the location,
Yes,
to
sir.
the property line is about 1,000 feet?
yeah, the building itself that they're proposing is in the center of that 250 acres.
Right.
So I don't have a problem with Scott Industries. I know they're a good company out at the Kingman Airport Authority now.
Well, no, you
My
mentioned,
concern is
you
my
mentioned
property
back
value.
porch. I was wondering, how far it is. Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
I appreciate that.
Any other questions of the speaker? Thank you.
Thank you.
Florence Conway.
Pass.
Pass, okay. Pam Bartlett.
I'm Pam Bartlett at 3375 Rancho Road. My only concern is if this does go through, Oatman Highway is such a small road, and it is really rough. I'm worried about the traffic and the trucks. It's very narrow, and when it rains, it washes out on the sides. And I know some of them at our last meeting we had the other night with the representative over here for
Cathy.
Scott's, Christine. She covered a lot of that, but she couldn't answer anything about the roads, about Oatman Highway. And I'm just really concerned if this does get passed, which a lot of us don't want it, but the road is very narrow. And if something could be done about that, widened. The only repair, I've been there since '05, the only thing that's ever been done is the crack sealed. That's it.
Any questions of the speaker? Thank you so much. Debra Kelly?
My name's Debra Kelly. I reside at 3141 West Rancho Road, Walnut Creek Estates. My family and I moved there in 2004 under the belief that we were investing in a residential community. I oppose to the rezoning to heavy industrial, heavy manufacturing. If they approve that, it will surround our wonderful community by industry. not completely opposed to Scott Industries, but the Nut team has this wonderful parcel of land for sale across from the brand-new truck diesel shop. Why can't they just go over there? Or just, we don't need to be encased by heavy industry. We didn't move there for that. Scott Industries has every right in the world to go and build their business and move out on their own. However, it is at the expense of our residents and our investment. That is simply not okay.
Any questions to the speaker? Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Tom Heathington? Tom Heathington?
Yeah, he's coming down.
Oh.
My name's Tom Effington. I live at 3105 Rancho Road. I am opposed to this. It's nothing against Scott Industries or Scott Dunton. Man owns the property, he can sell it to whoever he wants. We are a residential area. This is directly across the street from my house. I don't see heavy industry as an option in that area. Is this going to decrease our property values? Or how many other sites are going to move onto that property? Nobody knows. Nobody can tell us yes, no, whatever. Worst case scenario, I'd take Scott Industries over some of the other options that were discussed. That's it.
Okay. Any questions of the speaker? You said you live across the street. Is across the street as in across?
Probably
Open
2,000 foot from where the site will be.
Okay. Any questions of the speaker? Thank you very much. Joanne Dickmeyer? Hope I didn't.
My name is Joanne Dickmeyer. I live at 2940 West Safari Road. I came here today to speak on behalf of the individuals within the 300-foot radius who are from mildly opposed to very opposed to the rezoning. Since this item is for it to revert back to the AR1, I would like to reserve my time to speak on items 1B and 1C in order not to waste the
Yeah, you'll have
commission's
plenty
time.
You'll have plenty of time. Any questions of the speaker?
I have a question.
Yes.
You said something about, do you live within 300 feet of this property?
No, I do not, but because of my background in civil engineering, I have been helping the individuals within the 300-foot kind of understand the process, which has been part of the problem and why you're seeing a lot of backlash on
Well,
this
how many
project.
people do you represent that are within 300, live within 300 feet?
I don't have a head count on that. I know they submitted a petition to you. I believe there's about, I would say, 15 to 20 individuals who signed that petition, but they had short notice in which to do it. They are a little frustrated because they got the notice 2 weeks ago.
And they're within 300 feet?
They are within 300 foot of the property line of the affected parcel that will be rezoned back to the AR5. I don't think anybody in the area is opposed to the zoning being exchanged back to the AR scenario. I think, as I believe it was Scott that said here on the from the table, I believe he said that that most of the opposition is going to be on your B item and C item in this agenda.
Well, you're saying there's several people don't own property, but live within 300 feet.
They are across Rancho Road. The 300-foot radius map that the agent provided places them within 300 foot of the property line of the parcel in question.
Okay, thank you.
There are also some across Oatman Road along Safari that fell into that impact zone.
Any other additional questions of the speaker? Thank you so much.
And we'll see you on item B and C.
Got it. Justin Chambers?
My name's Justin Chambers. I'm at 209 North 4th Street here in Kingman. I'm speaking on items 1A through 1C. Is this the correct line?
Yes, I got it.
Okay, excellent. Good morning. I'm the broker that initially helped the company for the site selection. I've shown up to these meetings time and time again in favor of anything that will help this town gain some momentum. And frankly, I'm sick and tired of all the retirees who come here from California dictating the direction the town and valley should go. They are absolutely destroying any future for this area. I don't understand why the people in this area in town fight every business unless it's a medical or restaurant that caters to them. Time and time again, the retired residents who relocated here have chased off respective employers and instead of welcoming them with open arms. What I take great offense to is these are the same people who have made a living their whole life in blue-collar jobs such as these and then retire here and not allow any of us who grew up here the same opportunities. Everyone wonders why we see a drastic increase in crime and drug use here. You're not giving my generation the same opportunities that you were given. I grew up here and there are very few people from my high school that stayed in town. Everybody relocated due to lack of careers in this area. This company already looked at the airport and I felt it wasn't the right place for them for obvious reasons, like so many other companies I've brought to the airport before them. They also looked out by the Griffith interchange, but we felt it would be too difficult to retain employees that far outside of town. There's nowhere to go to lunch at or anything else. Therefore, without the rezone of this property, we'll simply lose another employer who hires skilled workers. They simply will move on to the next town like so many before them. There's also the argument about the water usage of this plant, which is minimal. I guarantee something will happen on this land. And we could put a farm out there without having anyone's approval in this entire room. Nobody has to approve a farm like we've seen out there with alfalfa farming that would use all of our water within one generation. The rezone is asking for a change on 10 acres in the middle of 260 acres, literally next to a shooting range. Furthermore, this has long been an industrial area before there was one house in this area. And it's right off of the Interstate 40 there. I don't understand how anyone could be against this. I have friends and family that have lost their homes and foreclosures in this area due to being laid off and not being able to have work. We need to stabilize and diversify our economy with good paying jobs like this. Please move forward on the rezone today to send a clear message that would-be employers here are welcome that bring innovative jobs to our town. Please give us a place to work besides a prison or Walmart. Thank you.
Any questions to the speaker? Thank you very much. Lois Pickens?
My name is Lois Pickens. I live at 3097 West Safari Drive. I am across Oatman Road from where the driveway for Scott Industries would be. I am not opposed to Scott Industries coming in. If they've researched any of the previous Scott Industries in the United States, they would find that Scott Industries buys more land than they actually use, and they leave the outside land natural. So I hope you go forward with this. Thank you.
Any questions to the speaker? Thank you. We have no more speakers on the item. This is a rescind item, part of the 1 through 3, or 1 through ABC. Cathy, would you like to come up and say a few words?
Thank you, Honorable Commissioners. My name is Cathy Tackett Hicks. I'm acting as the applicant in this, along with the county for this rescission. I just wanted to point out to you that this rescission also includes a piece of property which was M-zoned. There's a lot of confusion on what can go in M zoning, even though it's one of our most severe zoning designations. M zoning was required for that water, for the well site and everything. And the use that I'm proposing, and we'll get into it later, is a much more passive use than what you can do in M zoning. So I just want to bring to everyone's attention that you're rescinding an existing M zoning that's been on that property that I doubt anybody even knew about. So, and if you have any other questions, I can.
M zoning is exactly what, so everybody knows?
Manufacturing, industrial.
Heavy
Yeah.
manufacturing.
Yeah. And it was required for the well site that's out there.
Mr. Chairman, I had a question.
Yes, go ahead.
How much of the property is the M zone for the well site? You know,
It's a
about-
small piece.
I see.
1 or 2 acres or something. It's up in the northwest corner. But
Okay.
it was part of that original plat.
Right, thank you.
Yes, Chairman Fluchet, in regards to the M zoning, M was a previous zone that we had in our old ordinance,
Yeah.
but it's equivalent to our M2 zone now, which is general manufacturing.
Okay. So we got that. All right. Anything
Thank you.
else right now?
Well, we'll probably get into it.
Yeah, I
More
know,
fun.
I know. Okay. Any discussion from the commission?
Mr. Chairman, this item is basically to rescind. It's already expired, as the staff members, they already mentioned, and has nothing to do with, the nature of the B and C. So just want to make sure that the commission, board members, they understand that. So with that, if there is no objection, I'll make a motion to approve for a staff recommendation.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Commissioner Zami, a second by Commissioner Selberg to rescind. Any further discussion? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 1A is rescinded. 1B.
1B is an evaluation of a request for an amendment to the Mojave County General Plan from low-density residential land use designation to HI heavy industrial land use designation, and an amendment to the Meconico area plan from suburban land use designation to heavy industrial land use designation to allow for a manufacturing facility for a portion of assessor parcel number 206-13042 in the Golden Valley area. We have received 88 signatures of opposition in a petition. However, 2 individuals have called to have their names removed. 7 letters and emails of opposition, 1 letter of support. The applicant's agent had a meeting on Monday, June 12th, and had 46 attendees. Staff recommends approval of the proposed plan amendments.
The applicant is present. We have several speakers on the item. Joanne Dickmeyer. Yeah, they're not going to do it. And after that, Justin Chambers. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Joanne Dickmeyer. I live at 2940 Safari Drive. I am outside the impact zone of the 300-foot radius, but have been asked to represent the individuals within the 300 feet and to try and help them navigate through this process. One of the things that the individuals are aggravated about or frustrated about is the notification letters that came out were 2 weeks away. They felt they had little time to mobilize and discuss with their neighbors what was going on. The aspect of placing a major manufacturing or heavy manufacturing zoning within the middle of a residential area has met with considerable opposition of some individuals in the area. Other individuals have no concern over it. They're for it. As the tone of the meeting has shown, several of the individuals have indicated they're not directly opposed to Scott Industries. One of the things that is mentioned in the heavy industry in your Mojave General Plan is it says that these, that heavy manufacturing or heavy industry, these uses may have safety, nuisance, and environmental effects, making them unsuitable neighbors for a residential area. Obviously, we're seeing that, and that they should be located near transportation facilities such as freeways. The fact of the matter is they're placing this on Oatman Road, not along I-40. It is not in the I-40 corridor, which has major manufacturing designed. The residents have voiced their opinion in regards to, some are saying this is the lesser of two evils. They've been told by the property owner that if this doesn't go, that he probably will run his cattle on the property because he has to make use of the land. So, like I say, we have a variety of individuals. Many of the individuals signed the petition before Monday's meeting. Many of the individuals whom I have talked to, I have had one within the 300 foot that has indicated that they want their signature removed from the petition, and I have two that have indicated unsure, and a couple that I have not been able to contact to verify this. So the signing of the petition and those opposed is possibly on superfluous information. Unfortunately, because of the timing issue of having to get the petition in, the petition was submitted prior to being able to meet with the agent. The meeting with the agent, I think, went very well and did dispel some of the fears or some of the concerns of the agents or some of the residents. A lot of the agents have problems with the aspect of the Route 66. Some of the agents have issues with respect to the width of Oatman Road and the concern. And some of the individuals in the area are very concerned about the heavy manufacturing, what appeared to be island zoning in some of the literature that they received. Though Scott Industries is going to do a meets and bounds, I understand, within the parcel to designate the zoning, and that the parcel itself will remain a full parcel. This would still require or allow Scott Industries to expand within that parcel additional manufacturing scenarios. None of us can predict the future. Unfortunately, we all try and think, okay, well, what's going to happen? People will go a lot of times to the worst case scenario. If the economy takes a dive again, if Scott Industries sells, what's going to happen when Scott Industries, when the owner's children take over? Are they going to have the same business model of keeping the buffer zone? Are some of the concerns? Nobody knows that, and there are no guarantees. And the only guarantees we have is if it's or the only potential other future is if it stays AR 10, that's going to put more homes in there, more impact on the infrastructure as it was explained. Scott Industries seems to have a, again, as some have voiced, lesser of two evils. I am very, I have done the checks on Scott Industries and how that has, their presentation as far as what they develop around, and they would probably be a very good neighbor. The biggest concern is that this does give major manufacturing, because this is the highest manufacturing zoning, it gives them a potential foothold and would allow other individuals who purchase parcels in and around this area to point to this parcel and say, oh, look, there's major manufacturing here. And the concern is that the zoning department may look at that and say, oh yeah, well, we can rezone this, we can rezone this. So they're concerned about the sprawl. Many are concerned about the view and that aspect. Again, we'll be addressing additional items on item 3. Again, the road conditions, whether the road can handle the traffic. I have talked with Public Works, and he may want to comment on this. And for all intents and purposes, in closing, it says that the research of the company is great. Though this proposal, as it has been presented, does look better than the others for impacts for the residents, it is still a concern of many residents that they purchase this as zoned agricultural when they purchase their property, and they're a little concerned about manufacturing moving into their backyard. If Scott Industries sells down the road, what is to keep a fishing cannery from purchasing the property and moving in? And that is one of their concerns. So, I thank you very much.
Any questions of the speaker?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I do.
Go ahead.
Comment first.
Sure.
Landowners don't leave land sitting idle forever.
Oh, agreed.
The intention was back in 2006 to put approximately 646 homes on this property.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how you people would feel with 646 homes, which would take, as people calculate out, around 1,300 vehicles a day commuting up Oatman Road, versus Scott Industries, which might have 25 or 30. And heavy manufacturing is looked at by planning and zoning anytime it is near or even close into the vicinity of residential.
Mm-hmm.
And Scott Industries, even though what I see here, it says heavy manufacturing, they really don't do what I would consider heavy manufacturing. I mean, it's pretty clean operation what they do. You drive by their place out at the airport. I was involved with some people when they moved here a few years ago, and they're a pretty clean operation.
I would have to concur with that.
Nothing like Allison Motors in Indianapolis, Indiana. So we, our commissioners, I'm just talking about me personally. All the commissioners might not totally agree with me. We get these things to look at and make recommendations to the Board of Supervisors.
Correct.
Pretty hard to deny and tell a property owner he can't do something with his property when he's already been approved to put 646 homes on there with septic tanks. 646 septic tanks are, anyone that has septic tanks, which I do, they're a constant problem. And so I just wanted to know what your opinion was and give you my comments on this of 650 homes versus Scott Industries.
From what I can see of the pulse of the individuals within the 300-foot radius, a lot of them have had the luxury of looking out across a vacant piece of property and have grown accustomed to that view. The concern that houses would go in and obstruct their view is often also a concern. The general consensus, and I cannot speak for all of them because I have not discussed this matter directly with them as far as how they'd feel about the homes versus Scott Industries, my gut feeling and my pulse on that is that they would prefer Scott Industries over a grip of homes, but their concern is the impact of the major manufacturing zoning on their property values and the possible toehold that it could create for bringing in manufacturing into their backyards.
Yeah, I can see I can see your concerns, but
Mr. Chairman?
I just wanted to impress one of the responsibilities of us, the commissioners, is to evaluate what's put before us.
Yeah. One of the things that I see through the process is basically the opening the lines of communications between the residents and what is actually going in there. The residents have been told things in the past that this is the way this is going to happen, and then had it go the other way because things change. A lot of the residents feel like they have been misled in some instances, and I think that's one of the reasons why you're seeing a lot of the major pushback that you're seeing. And that's just speaking from my point of view. I'm not speaking on behalf of the residents at this point. I'm just saying what I've observed.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
First of all, I concur with Commissioner Abbott about, the 600 and some homes versus, industry. Light pollution definitely would be significantly more with 640 homes than, industry which uses isolated instead of a distributed part and other things we have. You mentioned that you're a civil engineer, right?
I worked as a civil engineering draftsman.
Okay, so you understand the civil engineering portion of it and all that, and you know that, anytime the project like this comes on the, the review process, there are all aspects of the civil engineering will be reviewed by all the different departments
Correct.
of the Mojave County, and has to follow certain ordinance, like building has to follow the building ordinance, in terms of the planning, in terms of the public works, you mentioned on that, roadways, etc. They all have to follow a certain ordinance, which is the governing documents for any projects that's going to happen. So it's not like, they can show up and do whatever they want. They have to follow within the guidelines. So having said that, I'd like to let you and everybody else know that this commission, we have to follow the land use ordinance that we have before us. And if the item falls within the boundaries of the land use ordinance, we cannot impose our personal idea that, well, I don't like it because it blocks my view or whatever. It has to be, recommending. Our job is to look at the item, make sure that, it is basically matching with the land use ordinance that we have before us. Now, if the land use ordinance is not good, that's a different route that, needs to be taken. But our body right here, our commission's position is to look at the application, make sure that it fits within the land use ordinance, and then we make our recommendation to the Board of Supervisors. So a lot of things that you mentioned about, well, what if they, lose their business or sell it to their son and things like that, those kind of, I call it soap operas, they do not come into the land use ordinance.
I
So I
understand
just want
that.
to make sure that, I bring that up. Thank you.
I understand that, and that was one of the reasons why I brought it up, is the situation of the education process of some of the residents of what's transpiring. They are concerned about it, and I mean, they've been it's been all over the board. As far as the concern about the road, I have talked with Public Works, and they have gotten back with me this morning in regards to the results of their core study, and for Route 66.
I don't believe that the application has been reviewed yet. The plans. I
No,
don't
no.
believe it's
I was
submitted.
told by the Public Works Department that they cannot concur that aspect until they get the traffic study.
Thank you.
So we're still in the process of that.
Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions of the speaker? Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll see you on item C.
You got it. Martha Jane Reichert?
My name is Martha Jane Reichert. I live at 3303 West Rancho Road, which is across the street from the 300-foot. My concern is not so much the 10-acre plot of Scott Industries, but the other 253 acres that are left and the heavy industry that will want to come in beside Scott. You keep talking about Scott and one 10-acre parcel, but we're talking about 263 acres. We're talking about County Road, Oatman Highway, and Shinarump. Shinarump isn't maintained much better than Oatman Highway. You're talking about two major roads to get access to I-40. And if you've driven down Shinarump and went around the holes that are created and the asphalt that is curling right now, and you want to put more semis besides CTI trucking and WTI trucking and what's coming out of the steel mill, you're not thinking about everything that the impact is going to have. My concern is you change all the zoning. We're talking about the rest of the acres and what Mr. Dutton will sell to. Will it be petroleum products, or will it be petroleum manufacturing, oil refinery, recycling like they had burning in Phoenix? What are we talking about? Why can't it stay? Housing. Yes, we had a failure in 2007, so no land was being bought, no homes were being made. You are getting people moving back in, homes are being made and built, and I think it should stay housing development, not manufacturing, for those reasons.
Any
Anybody?
questions of the speaker?
Thank you.
Thank you. Justin Chambers? Cathy, do you want to say anything?
Good morning, Honorable Chairman, Commissioners. My name is Cathy Tackett Hicks. I'm the applicant working on behalf of the owner, Scott Industry, for this item. This is a request for the general plan amendment and the area plan amendment. The area plan for this area is the Mechanical Area Plan, which was originally approved in 1992. It is, I believe, the oldest county area plan that they have. It's also what I consider the most diverse because of the corridor that it tries to draw, industrial, manufacturing, distribution, warehousing centers right there. Within the Mechanical Area Plan, this is a part of Unit 2. This area falls within that. Unit 2 is described as an area, the only area that might be available for residential in the Mechanical Plan. So it was recorded in 1992. In 1995 or 96, right across the street, within this Unit 2, there's a CMO that was approved for commercial manufacturing, CMO 3A. Right next to that is the Canyon Distributing in the Unit 2 section, which is a CMO 15-acre site. All along Oatman, it's been built out to help with the economic scenario of the county. It is designed specifically for that. The Mechanical Plan was designed to draw industry to this area. This use is not inconsistent with what the Mechanical Area Plan is trying to draw. This particular use had to unfortunately fall within an M zoning, the MX zoning. But like I brought to your attention before, if that M zoning for the public utilities that we just rescinded, or that you just rescinded, would now be considered an M2, MX is our most severe zoning, M2 is the one right next to it. Those issues we have to address each item. On the area plan that we've submitted, I've also followed up with a site plan that shows exactly what's going to be on the site. The concern that it may, tip the scales and there would be more industrial use in this particular area, it is always an option. But, there's no lie about it. None of us can tell. But what I did provide you today, and at the request of the opposers, was proof that Scott Industry did not operate like that. And I did provide you and Joanne, and she's been very good. We've been very transparent with everything. Copies of the other 10 sites of Scott Industry, which shows that in every instance, they purchase a lot more property than what they need. They have a couple of 10-acre sites. Most of their building, they also have several 100, 200, 300, a 400-acre site as well. And they have never once in over 70 years sold any bit of that to anyone, even though they have been asked repeatedly. This is what the president, Mr. Wilmoth, informed me. He does not sell the property. His entire business strategy is to be a great neighbor. You'll notice by looking at some of those pictures that, in fact, there's housing next to their industry because they built the facilities in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and growth has occurred next to them because they are a very passive use. I would not propose this MX zoning directly next to the residents. In fact, on the last sheet of what I gave you, it shows some basic elevations and it shows some distances to those properties. The closest property is just over 1,000 feet away to the north. To the east at Rancho Road, it's over 3,400 feet away. The impact of this footprint of this facility represents less than 2% of the overall site. In every instance, this property owner has maintained the open space around. In this case, these property owners would enjoy continued use, which they do use this property as their recreation area, the unfettered views, and the open space, which the home building would not allow. In terms of the area plan and general plan amendments, it is compliant with this plan. Staff has recommended approval for it because it does comply, and I would ask you to also approve this so we can move forward. If you have any questions, I'm thrilled to answer for you.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question here.
Go ahead.
Can you show on the overhead the plan that the applicant is proposing?
Yeah, I think you guys all have a copy of the draft site plan. I think this goes, I don't know which way it gets focused. You want me to turn that? Okay. So that's the 10-acre site right there. The initial phase for this is about 72,000 square feet of building.
Do you have a plan of it located on the whole site?
Yeah.
Where it's located?
I think it's within your plans as well.
Yeah, go to site plan.
It's on the GIS.
Oh, here. On the last sheet, you have the elevation sheet. And I marked it up because I wanted to show the various elevations of existing ground out there. Oh, there I go upside down. You can lower that some more, please, so they can see the top of the site. Okay, so there's where it sits. The road into it is 950 feet off. This portion right here goes almost 900 feet. There's a 100-foot flood control site, and then the homes begin after that. I showed one dimension here from the edge of the building over to here is greater than 3,400 feet, and I believe one of the speakers lives right here at the corner of Huntington, and that's over 2,400 feet away. So they did try to position it for the least impact to everyone. We didn't want this sitting right up in front on Oatman Road as well.
So to the back, or I guess the north side of the property, you're like 900 feet in?
Yes,
Center
we're
of
over
the 10
1,000
acres.
feet from private property
Okay.
at the closest point. And then from there, it goes beyond.
Mr.
We can't hear you.
Is there? Yeah. It does. No.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah. If you'd like to speak, you need to come up to the podium.
The original zoning map that I sent to each one of the owners outside, and the discussion with whether or not they're within 300 feet, there's no property within 300 feet of the 10-acre we're proposing for rezone, not one. What I did do, in terms of being completely transparent and notifying the owners, even though it was not required, was notify everyone within 300 feet of the exterior of this boundary. So that's the issue with the 300 feet craziness. If they received a letter from me, that meant they were within 300 feet to the exterior boundary. And I thought I had my rezone deal here that I could show you.
I've heard several times today, Cathy, and maybe this is a better answer to staff. I keep hearing they only knew about this 2 weeks ago. I thought we had a 30-day notice that had to go out.
Well, I can answer part of that. When I submit an application to the county, I'm required to submit it on the last Wednesday before 2 meetings later. So in this instance, I submitted it in the last week of April. I dated it April 2017, not a specific date on it. And then the county reviews those applications and everything, and then they mail them out a few weeks before the meeting. I don't know that exact time that they mail them out, but people normally get their notifications a few weeks. The posting occurs before that, but they can give you the exact days.
Okay.
But that
anybody-
has been normal for 30 years.
Okay, well, I just, I understand that. It just seemed like a lot of people were talking about they just got it 2 weeks ago and haven't had time to either call you or meet with you or whatever the situation might be. So I just
What did
wanted to-
occur concerning that was I sent out all the letters. The county let me know they were going to send them out, and I said, if there are any opposition, let me know. I was out of state on vacation, quite frankly. And I said, if there's any opposition, I will come back and I will hold a public hearing, because I knew there was going to be some questions that had to be answered. And so I contacted the county. Yes, we had opposition. I got back on a Monday night after the letters went out the week before and spoke with Miss Effington on Tuesday. When I read the letter in the morning, called her, told her I would hold a hearing, and then mailed out all the letters to the owners by the Wednesday. So they had time to.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Let me ask a question to the staff. Has this application been, on the other process, been properly noted?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Azarmi, and members of the commission, state statute gives us a 15-day notice period, and yes, this noticing of this application did meet those 15 days.
So the signage and the letters and everything was properly noted per state law?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
That's all that matters. Yes.
if I may, just for clarification, both this item and the rezoning item are dealing with only the 10-acre portion of the larger parcel, correct?
That's correct.
So in terms of some of the concerns where another building gets built or more industry gets built, they would have to come back, that would have to come back before this board to rezone another portion of this property. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct.
I think that's a
and-
pretty important point to note here. We're talking about a 10-acre piece of a larger parcel that is a minimum of 900 feet away from a residence that we're dealing with in reality here. We're leaving the rest of it
The way it is.
the low-density AR-10 zoning. So there is a buffer there if something were to try and expand in the future.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I concur with Commissioner Gordon. I think there is a misunderstanding that the 260-plus acre is going to be zoned, for the, but it's only the 10-acre.
Right.
And the balance of it is going to be, basically rescinded to AR.
AR-10.
AR-10. So, as you mentioned, Commissioner Gordon, you're absolutely right on that. If there is going to be any other application, it has to go through the process, evaluation, everything else.
Correct.
Mr. Chairman?
Thank you.
Yes.
I have a question of staff. Chris, you noted that we met the statutory requirement of a 15-day notice. Isn't that 15-day notice required for property owners within 300 feet of the rezone? Or within, what is that? Can you clarify? Because I don't see any properties within 300 feet of this 10-acre parcel.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, there are basically three levels of notice that the department goes through. First is a notification in the newspaper. It has to be a newspaper published in the county seat. In our case, it's the Kingman Daily Miner. The second level is an actual posting of the property. So you actually go out and drive stakes into the ground with a notice on it that says public notice. The third level are the individual letters to property owners. And in this case, we did notice individuals beyond the 300-foot limit. What statute states is that people within 300 feet of the area being rezoned must be noticed by first-class letter. Because that area is actually, that entire area is actually owned by Scott, or since they're, they're kind of embedding this rezone deep into a larger parcel they already own, or excuse me, that they own, we actually noticed around that larger parcel. But for purposes, they keep talking about, everyone keeps talking about 300-foot notice area that's required in state statute, that actually can trigger a supermajority vote of the board or a 4/5 vote of the board. If 20% of the property owners representing 20% of the area within 300 feet of the area being rezoned object, that can trigger a 4/5 vote of the board. In this case, Scott Industries owns all of that 300 feet. So people we notice can come in and object, but they're not in a position to ever accumulate the percentages required to force that 4/5 of a vote.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Chris, so bottom line, the 10 acre, we have no neighbor within 300 feet of the 10 acre that is going to be rezoned, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
I just want to say, we send out the letters in terms of information. It's always been very transparent. I do not have a problem with the process. I respect the process. What flipped out on this particular site is the immense amount of misinformation that was being dispersed, and so none of the owners really knew what was going on with that. So I did feel very good about Monday's meeting. It was above and beyond what's required. The letters were above and beyond what was required. But clearly, we want to, if someone's going to come into the area, they need to be welcome, and people need to understand the impacts that are against them. I am not, I certainly don't regret the letters going out. I think it was necessary. We could have had this discussion in a year if we weren't doing it now. I'm comfortable with the information that's been dispersed, and I've been working hard the past week to try to help people better understand what it actually is. So I just want to make that statement.
Okay, any other additional questions of the speaker?
I think Michael brought up a very important point. Do you have a picture showing the entire amount of land and where that small part of it is?
It's on the GIS.
Yeah, if you,
It's on the staff
Well, I have
report
one,
under
but
site map.
The site plan shows
We
it
could
really
pull that
well.
up.
I think you had it on the first.
There it is, right there.
There it
Right
is, on your screen now.
Okay.
So 235 acres, 10 acres, very small piece. And within that, the footprint of the building, like I said, represents like 1.5%, less than 2% of that property. So property owners would still maintain a significant view vista. We can go on and on. I guess I can discuss that in the rezone.
It's been mentioned here, Cathy,
Yeah.
that people have been told things and misunderstood and so forth. How did you feel after your meeting? They understood where you're asking for rezoning and where you're not?
I think I was thrilled that 46 people came out. I was very thrilled. I was very concerned prior to the meeting. I was very concerned when I let them know by phone, by speaking with them, telling them I was going to schedule a meeting, but I had to make sure and notify everyone, and that meant it had to be Monday at the earliest. They did inform me they were having a meeting Thursday. They were moving ahead. They already had their decisions made, and that created a position now. After the meeting, I had several people say, thank you, this is not what I meant, I'm going to call and have my name removed, this is not what I thought it was. The basic premise was they thought this was going to be a giant industrial complex. They are concerned about truck traffic on Oatman Road. When I explained there was just 2 to 4 truck traffic trips, or maybe up to 6, those types of issues. So I answered a lot of questions. I felt good about that. Even though after we read on the blogs that what KTH said was BS and blah, 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 there's an element out there that just wants to keep up misinformation. It's unfortunate. But I feel very good about the job that I've done in terms of notifying them.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any additional questions of the speaker? Thank you, Cathy.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I looked at the application, I looked at the land use ordinance, I looked at the site, and based on the number of letters of concern, I really tried to see if there is any avenue that, we would be able to not recommend this, and I cannot find it. If there is any comment that, can, show me on the land use ordinance, and I go back to my initial conversation that I had, that our job is to match the application with the land use ordinance, and if it falls within that, it is our duty to make a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors for approval. I don't believe that, there is any doubt in my mind that it is consistent with our land use ordinance to proceed. And if there is no objection from the commission, I make a motion to approve per staff recommendation.
Second motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Zami, a second by Commissioner Abbott. Any further discussion?
I would like to state something from my observation, which is the concerns, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
That's all right.
The concerns that I'm hearing about transportation and trips, if I look at the 600 possible homes versus 6 truck trips and possibly 40 employee trips, there's no question in my mind that the transportation burden on those roads would be incredibly significantly lessened with this use. When I look at water usage for 600 homes or even 250 homes versus what this, what Scott would be using, there's no question that it's better for the water and water environment, septic, everything else that I can see. I see that buffer zone that protects those residents and where additional zoning would have to come through before any other manufacturing would be allowed. I see the distance of that building from the other properties to be 1,000 feet, 3,000 feet. And with elevations, I don't see impact to the view. So I'm looking at all of the objections, and in my mind, I feel that this is an incredibly good use of this property.
Stated.
We have a motion on the floor. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 1C.
Item 1C is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of a portion of assessor's parcel number 206-13042 from an AR 10A agricultural residential 10-acre minimum lot size zone to an MX heavy manufacturing zone to allow for a manufacturing, honing, warehouse, and distribution facility in the Golden Valley area. Staff received the same amount of opposition in letters and petition, as well as the one approval letter. Staff recommends approval with standard conditions and with the condition that if these conditions are not met within 2 years of this approval, and if at the expiration of this period the property has not been improved to meet the use for which it has been conditionally approved, the Board of Supervisors, at notification by registered mail to the owner and the applicant who requested the rezone, shall schedule a public hearing to grant an extension, determine compliance with the schedule of development, or cause the property to revert to its former zoning classification. Thank you.
Applicant is present. We have several speakers. Joanne Meyer.
My name is Joanne Meyer. You know where I reside, but I can repeat it again if necessary. In regards to Cathy's statement, I have to concur. The meeting on Monday went very, very well. We did have a meeting of homeowners on Thursday prior to that meeting, where several individuals did sign petitions, and after the Monday's meeting, they, a few of them did concur differently. I do have a copy of the map here as far as what was notified, the 300-foot radius. If they can bring it up on camera, that would be appreciated. Cathy has been very transparent in regards to notifying individuals within 300 foot of the parcel. No, she did not need to, because she only needed to notify within 300 foot of the zoning. By doing so, unfortunately, she opened herself up to a Pandora's box. The concern that some of the residents adjacent to the parcel have is that this island zoning, or the creation of this zoning zone, would only require Scott Industries to notify themselves if they wish to expand within the parcel. So that was one of the concerns that the residents had. As far as Scott Industries being a better neighbor than the full development, most of the homeowners in the area are concurring to that. It is appearing that the board will probably approve this and send it on to the Board of Supervisors, at which point I'm assuming that the residents will choose whether they wish to speak and still be opposed once all of the information is in and explained to them more fully. I thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your time, and I leave it in your hands. Again, several residents are, in fact, vehemently opposed, only concerned about it spreading.
Thank you very much. Any questions of the speaker? Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Justin?
May I address the board?
Sure, absolutely. Come on back.
I wish to extend my apologies to the surveyor who had his monuments removed. And in speaking on behalf of the household members around the area, I hope it was not anyone that I was representing. And I really would like to kind of address them through the board in regards to the criminal activity of removing survey stakes is not only a criminal activity, but part of the reason for that, it is also dangerous. And I thank you very much for allowing me to specify that.
Thank you very much.
Somebody raised their hand.
Who raised their hand?
Bruce?
Come on down. Please state your name and address.
Bruce Bellinger, 3233 Black Rock Road. It's across the highway, open highway from the proposed site. I've lived there since 1999, so this is definitely my home. I've been part of Kingman since 1986. The couple of things that have not been brought up when we start talking about industrial use of a facility is noise pollution. By the time I purchased my home on Black Rock Road, the Coors distributing plant had already been approved, and it was built 4 or 5 years later. One of the irritating things is OSHA required backup sounds every time they turn a forklift on in the Coors distributing plant. That starts early in the morning. Nobody has mentioned any of this, and I'm sure that many of the residents who are in that 300-foot area outside of the bigger boundary are going to be affected by this. Hasn't been thought about, hasn't been discussed, but I want you to think about not only the light pollution that will be coming in, but also the noise pollution, and there is no way possible to stop those backup sounds, those beep, 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 that goes for hours and hours and hours. We already paid for Griffith Energy Park. I got no problems with Scott. They've been a great citizen of the community. They've been here, and I don't know how many years, but I'm sure it's about 7 or 8 years already. They've proven themselves. Scott Industry is a good, clean industry. They should go in a pre-approved area that was designed for industrial use. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, go ahead.
Bruce,
Yes, sir.
you're a well-educated individual. My question to you is, with the noise ordinance that is available, with the Public Works, all the information, could you point out like one item that we can hang our hat on in terms of not being, it would be outside of the land use ordinance?
No, sir, I can't.
Thank you.
My opinion, and I appreciate you listening to us.
Thank
Well,
you.
Thank you very much for coming.
Yes, sir.
Any other speakers on the item? Guess not. Mary Jane Reichert? Okay. All right. Yeah, Scott, come on up. State your name and address.
I'm Scott Dutton. I live at 1880 Franklin in Kingman. This whole process has been interesting to me. I was going to bring you 18 pages of slanderous, libelous things about my family, about my businesses and companies that these people have created. And it's not all of them. I mean, we've been there for 34 years, and these are wonderful people. We've taken very good care of them. We've built a nice subdivision. And the amount of information that's been spread, Mrs. Dickmeyer is very kind to say that it's superfluous. It was absolutely blasphemous about how greedy and what terrible people we are and how we're trying to hurt these people. And so let me give you a little bit of a background. We tried to do a 650 lot subdivision. The economy stopped that. We tried to do a 250 lot subdivision, and I came to you, same people, two of you are still on here, and asked you if you consider letting us do dirt streets. You didn't want that. So for 34 years, we paid property taxes on this property. 2 years ago, I paid myself to bail out my partners, $54,000 in back taxes. So we're being portrayed as the opportunistic, greedy, nepotistic, five-generation family that controls everything. They said we're related to Jean Bishop. My ex-partner's widow her maiden name was Dutton, the same as mine. There's a guy named, his name is Consolato. He's the one that's orchestrated all this stuff, okay? And the idea that these people haven't had a chance to get information, they listed my address, the oldest address in Walnut Creek, as an invalid address, so we couldn't communicate with the neighbors, okay? And so all this stuff that's going on Facebook and all these scandalous letters that they put on there about what terrible people we are, we're not. We've got a great family. We've sold 30,000 cars in this county. We know a lot of people. And so we've never done anything to hurt these people, period. So when we couldn't do the last subdivision and when we redeemed the taxes and paid $7,000 last year and $7,000 this year, then we decided we're going to blade it off and we're going to go ahead and put cattle on it. Not to do anything to hurt these people, but just to try to lower our taxes. Oh my gosh, you should have seen the comments. We lied to them. The two Duttons lied to them and told them this was BLM property. Really? I don't think so. I mean, it's just this stuff is ridiculous. So then we want to go ahead and give information to them. They have a meeting. We're uninvited to go. So we can't give these people any information. So 4 people have actually, this has been a lynch mob. 4 people have orchestrated this thing to the point where we actually have collected 18 pages of their crap. And I was going to bring it down here today, but I didn't have a chance to copy it. But they've fooled the other people in the community into believing this stuff and signing a petition for no reason. Now, this is what happened. We had a farmer come to us and offer us $4,000 an acre for this property, $1 million. But they were going to use 500 acre feet of water for trees. Our subdivision last year used 26. So unless I wanted to just totally suck our water company dry, I didn't even consider it. Okay, so then the next thing is we're going to fence it off, and I'm going to wait until the economy picks up, and I'm going to sell either a 650 lot subdivision, which we spent $300,000 engineering and perfecting the water for, or I'm going to sell a 250 lots 1 acre subdivision, which we've got plenty of water for. Okay, and I'll just wait. Okay, then here comes Mr. Wilmeth. Mr. Wilmeth contacted us, and Justin brought him to us, and he showed me his company. Okay. My family's been here since 1926. His family's been in the same business since 1949. Never sold a piece of property in 67 years. owns his own company, the whole thing. Okay. Now, as far as backup things from forklifts and stuff, this is a $4 million building. It's all robotics. They don't have little backhoes with backup deals on them. To me, this is an amazing company. He's going to build a building that's the color of the desert. It's going to be a road straight in and straight out. He has 2 trucks a day, 16 employees. He uses the amount of water of one home. That's it. He has a septic tank in the ground. Contrary to the information that's been spread about us, he's going to pollute the ground. Mr. Castellano filed a complaint with the Corporation Commission on us. Okay? We didn't notify him about this huge water user. Well, we normally don't when we put in a water meter for one home. He's going to pollute the ground. He's going to have noise pollution. No, he's not. His trucks pull in and unload. What he does, he has chrome pipes that are chromed on the inside. He cuts the pipes and he cuts the piece that goes inside of it, and he ships those pieces. That's it. It's all robotics. They all stack it. It's $4 million that's going to be taxed by Mojave County. Okay? He's going to pay to the fire district. Great employees. They never leave. Some of his employees, he put so much in their 401k, after 25 years, they leave with $1 million. Okay? In 67 years, large pieces like this, never sold a piece. He's got 3 wonderful daughters, 3 wonderful son-in-laws. He's not going to change his business plan. He's so old school that he signs all the checks for all 12 of his businesses and mails them out. Okay? So this guy's not going to not tell the truth any more than we have not told the truth in the last 4 years. So this superfluous information that's been spread, it's scandalous. It's not true. Okay? We're not related to Gene Bishop. None of this stuff is right. And this is the part that's rich, okay? We're selling this property for, according to Mr. Castellano, we're selling it for $27 an acre, $7,000, to spite the people in Walnut Creek and give them this terrible business. Really? The truth is, which I don't have to even tell anyone, we're selling the property for $2,700 an acre, $690,000. That's the same price we sold our first unit for in 1984. It's a joke. And you know what the real truth is? The reason we're going to sell it, we came here 2 months ago and asked you to approve a living quarter and an office for Walnut Creek, right? We're going to go ahead and improve that with part of the money. We're going to make improvements to the water company. We've got a great water company. We've never had any complaints except this fellow. In 34 years, we've had one increase, a rate increase, and the Corporation Commission made me ask for it. That's how much my partner thought of these people. Now, everything's worn out, 34 years old. Do we need to have a rate increase? Probably. Do we need to do capital expenditures and fix things? Yes, and we will. But I don't mind being attacked, and I don't mind being accused of something, but I can promise you we've never done anything to hurt these people. And even if I put cattle on it or livestock on it, if this doesn't go through, it wouldn't be to hurt them, it'd be to lower the taxes. So, I would, if anything happened from this whole thing, I would just like these people to not listen to these 4 rabble-rousers and let us tell them the truth. This is a great business. No noise, dark lights, blend into the community. Great guy, real good employer. So with what's come up just with this, just these comments from these people, Mr. Wilmuth goes, you know what? I'm not sure I want to be in Mojave County. All kinds of problems at the airport. But you know what, at the airport? Everybody at the airport, Mr. Riley, Mr. French, treated these people like princes. No problem at the airport. It's just not their model to be in a building that doesn't fit their stuff. This building's going to be $4 million, all robotics, all modern. If I could ask for somebody to put on this property for these people, they want to have the use of the surrounding property. They think that they own my property now, and they have that right. Mr. Wilmuth said, we store nothing outside. Our trucks are inside. No truck is over 3 years old in all 12 of his businesses. They could ride their quads, they can ride their horses up anytime, day or night, and touch his building. They can hunt next to his building. Somebody killed a 4-point buck in front of his building in, Canada or something last week. He's not the kind of guy to fence it. He will not be a bad neighbor. There will be no lights, no noises, no flies, no horses, no dogs, like these people complain about now with all of their neighbors. I'm the referee. I get to try to make sure they don't have junk on their property. When they race their quads around and stir up dust and the neighbors complain, they come to me. So I have to try to solve it. I don't own any more lots there. I'm not going to sell any more lots to a petroleum industry or anybody else. I've got 32 acres and all the stuff that should be commercial on the highway after this, and it's going to be exactly what we've said for 34 years.
Okay.
So,
Mr.
anyway,
Chairman?
thank you very much for
Mr.
listening.
Chairman, I have two comments. Today is June 14th, is the Flag Day.
Yes.
And, one of the things that this flag represents is the, right of the people and the freedom. And definitely this application, as I said, is consistent with the land use ordinance, and it is your right and the applicant's right to use the land the way that they want it. Right. So that's number one. Number two, on the light side, I'm from Fort Mojave Valley, and the only complaint I have is that why didn't you bring it to us, to Fort Mojave Valley?
Well, you know what's funny is he said, if he had really
bring it
has
to
any
Havasu.
trouble, he thought about moving to Edge of Phoenix or someplace where they'd actually welcome him, where they didn't have to put up this nonsense.
No, this is a great opportunity for Golden Valley. Golden Valley needs more, this kind of, industry to bring more jobs, to bring more money. I assume that they're going to be community-oriented. They're going to be participating in any other, projects that they're going to be happening in this area. Right now, I just share my experience in Fort Mojave Valley. Dot Foods, which is the largest food distributors, are coming to our area, and they already committed thousands of dollars into different community projects. They really participate and help the community. So I think that this is wonderful.
We should have got that business here.
Yeah.
I'll tell you,
Want to keep some over there.
if anybody that will meet Mr. Wilmeth, he'll come to the Board of Supervisors meeting. Anybody that will meet him will know what kind of guy he is. I mean, very generous, very kind. I mean, I swear, this is a gift from God for these people, and they just haven't figured it out yet, but they will. I mean, most of the people that ever objected to his projects back east and the other sites have come in and apologized. And a lot of them, two of the people here that complained asked me if I would tell them, they were both guards, asked them if they needed any guards, if I'd put their name in, and I already did.
Employment.
So, but the first choice that they have is to hire somebody from our community that's close.
All right, any additional questions of the speaker?
Thank you. Mr.
Thank you,
Chairman,
Scott. Yes.
Well, I guess Cathy wants to talk.
Cathy?
Are you sure?
Cathy Tackett, Hicks. I just wanted to address a couple of items that I heard. One of them had to do with noise. All of the trucks, if you look at the site plan that I submitted, all the trucks are loaded and unloaded within the building. Even if they do have backup sounds, it's going to be within the building. The site itself makes no noise. What was the other issue I wanted to say? So I wanted to be clear because he brought up a good point. The other question had to do with, that was brought up by the people, I just trying to be completely transparent. The site, overall site is very small. One portion of it is 60-foot high because of their automated retrieval system. That's what I thought would be a big concern. It doesn't appear to be that big of a concern, but on your last sheet, I gave some elevations showing all the homes are higher by 50 feet to 15 or 20 feet over here. That mitigates that height issue. I don't want to belabor the point. I think it's an outstanding project. It's far superior to any other options for the site, and I would ask you to please approve it.
All right, any questions of the speaker? Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Cathy.
Mr. Chairman, I have a comment.
Yes, go ahead.
One of the things that I'd like to thank the staff for putting together such a nice package for the commissioners to go through, and it was facts that we saw, and I think even Mr. Bennett from Economic Development sent us some more information. So I think we're sitting here today with a lot of the facts that maybe the residents out there really didn't have. And so, again, if it's a land use problem, I think we're, had a different issue, but we don't. So we're here to just deal with the facts.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I guess we talked enough about this, and we had enough information, and I hope that the public got more information that they had when they walked into this. And with that, if there's no objection, I'd like to make a motion to approve for a staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Zami, a second by, was it you, Michael?
Silberg.
Selberg, second by Commissioner Selberg, not to confuse anybody. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll entertain, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 2.
Item number 2 is an evaluation of a request for an amendment to the Mojave County General Plan from Urban Development Area Light Industrial Land Use Designation to Urban Development Land Use Designation, and an amendment to the Yucca Area Plan from Urban Development Area Light Industrial Land Use Designation to Urban Development Area Land Use Designation for assessor parcel number 20705 007, 010, and 011 in the Yucca vicinity. Staff recommends approval.
Is the applicant present? Item number 2?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
the department is the applicant.
Oh. Okay, well, all right.
Jonathan Carlton with Carlton Surveying, and I'm the agent for Hannah Ellis.
Okay. All right, we have no
Has any
speaker.
questions?
Okay. We have no speakers on the item. Can staff give us a little rundown of what's going on here? Why?
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, when I believe the Yucca Area Plan was put together, when it was developed, there were large areas on either side of I-40 that were included in the light industrial designation, expecting that the Griffith area would kind of fill up, grow, and some areas around Yucca were needed to accommodate that growth. That did not happen, but what began to happen was the splitting of parcels within some of the industrial designated properties. Those began to be split and sold as residential parcels. And it was kind of Miss Ellis, Hannah Ellis, whose lot split and rezone is item number 3, ended up being captured by that. And in fact, there was a previous rezone that was done, and somehow we missed it. We should have caught it. We didn't. That the rezone was not compliant with the general plan at that point in time either, for the same reason. It was split for residential purposes. The person who did that rezone happened to be Ellis's, Hannah, I believe it was Hannah Ellis's father or a relative of some sort. In order to address this issue, staff sent several letters out to the property owners who were in that area and asked which ones wanted to be included in a rezone to residential, because the information we were getting is that none of those property owners were looking at a industrial development. The result of that letter are the parcels you see before you today, dropping that industrial designation and allowing those property owners to go ahead and develop their parcels as residential. One of the reasons we did it this way is that it came to our attention that a couple of them were, although not interested in industrial, were still interested in the potential for a commercial development.
Okay. All right. That kind of gives us the lowdown. There's no speakers on the item. Any questions or comments from the commission? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve for staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Abbott and a second by Commissioner Gordon. Any further discussion? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 3.
Item number 3 is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessor parcel number 207-05011 from an AR 8A agricultural residential 8-acre minimum lot size zone to an AR 3A agricultural residential 3-acre minimum lot size zone to allow for a minor land division in the Yucca vicinity. The applicant is seeking to split the 10.52 acre parcel into 3 parcels. One parcel is proposed to be 3 acres in size, and the other 2 parcels are proposed to be 3.5 acres in size. Staff recommends approval with standard conditions.
Is the applicant present? Okay. We have no speakers on the item. Would you like to address the commission and just tell us what what's going on here?
Apologize for jumping the gun earlier.
all
Jonathan
right.
Carlton, the agent for Hannah Ellis. The proposed split is for housing development.
Okay. Just split into 3 ways to build houses?
Correct.
Okay. Any questions of the speaker? I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion by Commissioner Kelly,
Second.
second by Commissioner Beller. Any further discussion? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 4.
Item number 4 is an evaluation of a request to rescind and cause the properties to revert from C2H Highway Commercial Zone to the previous zone of AR 5A Agricultural Residential 5-acre minimum lot size zone for failure to meet the conditions of approval as specified in BOS Resolution Number 2005044, which approved the rezone of assessor parcels numbers 317-08-022C, 003, 015C, 018C, 027, and 028C in the Dolan Springs vicinity. The Planning and Zoning Commission discussed this item at their meeting on May 10th, 2017, and continued it to the June 14th, 2017 meeting, which is today. It was continued to allow staff time to meet with a new property owner that purchased one of the parcels and to discuss their options. And the staff has recommended that we move forward with the rescission and would like to continue with that. We recommend rescinding the BOS resolution number 2005-044 and the zoning revert to an AR 5A agricultural residential 5-acre minimum lot size zone. Thank you.
Is the applicant present? I have one speaker on the item, Teresa Versaja? Is that right? Teresa? Apparently Teresa's not here. All right. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Kelly and seconded by Commissioner Gordon. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number 5.
Item number 5A is an evaluation of a request for an amendment to the Mojave County General Plan from low-density residential land use designation to general commercial land use designation to allow for a radio studio and tower on assessor parcel number 32410-059A in the Kingman vicinity. The Planning and Zoning Commission discussed this item at their meeting on April 12, 2017, and recommended denial. The Board of Supervisors discussed this item at their meeting on May 1, 2017, and has sent this item back to the Planning and Zoning Commission for further discussion and clarification. At this time, the attorney recommends the commission adjourns to executive session.
Okay, we adjourn. Mr. Taylor?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I believe there needs to be a motion to adjourn into executive session.
Move to adjourn to executive session.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn to executive session. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Well, the microphone wasn't on, so it didn't go all across the world.
There we go.
All right.
You hope.
Yeah. I said it low enough. Item 5A.
I'd like to make an motion based on additional information we have received that we didn't have at the other meeting. What we received leaves me a little bit confused, but I'd like to make a motion to approve for staff recommendation.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. A motion by Commissioner Abbott and a second by Commissioner Beller. Any further discussion? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman?
Those opposed, same sign.
Whoops.
Mr. Chairman, yeah. The commission will still need to open the public hearing.
Uh,
There was no item.
Yeah, if you had any objections.
All right, item number 5A, you want, that's where you want to start? All right, we'll come back to our,
Wasn't 5A the one we were talking about?
yeah, but they have to read it into the public record.
Oh.
Mr. Chairman, it's been read into the public record, but that doesn't,
Do we have anybody sign up for it?
No one signed up for it.
no one signed up for it? Okay. I
Yeah.
stand corrected.
So open and
Is
close.
the applicant here? Oh, the applicant is here. So would you like to say something to the commission? Okay, all right.
5B.
God, where did we leave off on 5A? Did we already make
We
them?
already made the motion, we were the second, and we
We're
passed.
ready to open 5B.
Yeah, okay. 5B.
It's all Chris's fault.
Move to approve 5B, or are you just opening the public hearing? I'm confused.
5B, opening the public hearing.
Well, then I'll wait.
All right.
Item 5B is an evaluation of a request for a rezone of assessor parcel number 324-10059A from an AR agricultural residential zone to a C2 general commercial zone to allow for a radio studio and tower in the Kingman vicinity. Staff recommends approval with standard conditions.
The applicant is present. We have no speakers on the item. Any questions or comments to the applicant? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve item 5B as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Burrell and a second by Commissioner Gordon. Any further discussion? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 5C.
Item 5C is an evaluation of a request for a special use permit on assessor parcel number 324-10059A to allow for a 100-foot radio transmission tower in a C2 general commercial zone in the Kingman vicinity. Staff recommends approval with standard conditions.
The applicant is present. We have no speakers on the item. Any discussion with the chamber? I mean, the chamber, with the
It's past 12 o'clock, the battery's going low.
my battery's wearing down. Yeah, all right, anyway.
I'll make that motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion and a second. We have a motion by Commissioner Selberg and a second by Commissioner Kelly. Any further discussion? Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, call to the public. Call to the public is now closed. I just want to reiterate the time set for the supervisors meeting having to do with the open meeting law training, which will be at the next Board of Supervisors meeting at 11 a.m.
And the date?
And the date is June 19th. Yeah, June 19th. I'll entertain a motion. Yes, Chris.
Mr. Chairman, I'll do this as quickly as possible so the committee can adjourn. Next month in July, we will be placing an item on the agenda and to be expected to take a little bit of time at the end of the meeting. The commission will be receiving new laptops. IT will be here to describe the process to you. I will let you know that the new laptops do not come with new mice or new bags, so be sure not to turn your bags in. If you're really disturbed about the fact you're not getting a new mouse, then you can talk to Dina or I, and we can see what we can do for you if yours is somehow on the fritz.
Have an extra mouse if you want.
Yeah. I thought we were getting them today.
Mr. Chairman, you were scheduled to get them today. However, one of the computers came through with a bad screen. They had to send it back to the vendor
Okay.
for a replacement.
Okay.
That was Carl's, yes.
My fault. I take
Chris,
total
would they
responsibility.
transfer some of our information, like the general plan and land use ordinance and things we have on it, to the new one, or what? How-
No.
We have to go
Yeah,
back?
we'll either, Mr. Azami will either transfer those or we'll download them again for you.
Okay, thank you.
Well, that's too bad. I got my old one fixed.
Well, you got another meeting with it?
how to use it. I was falling in love with it.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. We have a motion by Commissioners Kelly, right? No. Gordon, all right.
Kelly will second.
Yes, speak up a little louder. And the second by Commissioner Zomer. Okay.
What?
Those in favor, signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same sign. Thank you all for coming today.
Do we need to take you to your car? Do you know
Take
which
me